Welcome, everyone. This is the SIG Node meeting, September 17th, 2024. We are going to begin with KEP planning. We're down to the wire a little bit with it, so we need to get things into the milestone and get approvers, reviewers, and KEP wranglers assigned to it. So I'm going to share my screen. We have a table that we've been working on that describes all of the KEPs that we're looking at for this release. I have attempted to categorize them based on the proposed stage. I might have gotten something wrong. Anything on this table, I might have gotten wrong. So if you see any discrepancies with the state you imagine, please let me know. The way that I imagine we go through this is we should try to get through as quickly as possible, but we should talk through anything that we need to. Ideally, we have a approver and or reviewer assigned as well as priority. So we know for those approvers and reviewers whose bandwidth is limited, which ones to prioritize. So I've begun to sort of attempt to categorize some of the priorities based on roughly what I guessed, really. Like some of the low ones I chose just because it has taken a while to get there. Some things I chose high because they're like hot topics in the SIG, like DRA and stuff like that. But yeah, so Sergey.
Yeah, one clarification I wanted to say. Now we have situation like in the past we had like approvers and of code and approvers of KEPs is the same list. Now we have only 3 approvers for KEPs and more approvers for code. Do we want to get what kind of approvers we want to list here? Like we definitely need KEP wranglers to ping KEP approvers, so we make progress on KEP definition be clarified, but then once it's in implementation stage, we can have like more people contributing. Like we have Timon Claire, we have myself, we have Yuju.
I would say in the interest of building up the code approvers into KEP approvers, maybe we list the code approver for that KEP, and then like there will need to be some work on behalf of the KEP approver to also approve after that, but maybe we give the code approvers like the preliminary KEP review, and then the KEP approvers come in after. We can also add an additional field if we want, but I think that's what makes sense to me. I don't know if folks.
Yeah, it makes sense. Code approvers makes sense.
Cool. All right. Sounds good. So let's get started. I have sorted them. So there are 2 that we're beginning with that seem relatively straightforward to me. One of them is a deprecation. One of them is we're dropping the feature gate for this field. So I think we're just, alongside it. I don't think it's a particularly high priority, but like I think it should also be relatively straightforward. So I think about setting this to like a low, but it probably will be a fairly easy thing to approve and get in. This is for removing the feature gate for host IPs.
I'm already reviewing this.
And there's already a cool. I will add. Have a list of.
You can just do.
Yeah, perfect. All right, thank you. Next up, we have deprecating classic DRA, which we're still, I think, technically discussing, but we're proposing that.
Yeah, let's hold on that one. I think Kevin, who's on the call, had some thoughts, so maybe this is not confirmed yet. Kevin, if you want to add something.
Yeah, sure. We talked about this in the working group device management just an hour or so ago. And no one wants to volunteer for it because no one wants to be the champion that says, yes, let's remove this now. But I think there are some people that are pushing for it to be removed. So I don't know how we want to encode this, because I know people like Tim Hawken and Jordan Leggett, they want this gone as soon as possible. But yet the people that built this initial support don't want to see it disappear that fast. So I don't know who is going to take on the work to write this KEP when we don't even necessarily agree with this being done. But it is something that is being pushed for, and being pushed for by this next release if we want to make DRA go beta. Yeah, so I don't know how we want to assign this to people and how we want to set priority. And
I guess we just wait till we get clarity on which direction this is headed, and then we figure it out. Yeah.
Makes sense. I would
So
call
I'll
it
leave
high
this
priority.
on.
Is the problem?
Okay.
I would call it high priority, but we don't have an approver for it yet.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the right way to do it.
That works with me.
Maybe we assign Kevin.
Cool.
So Kevin, because you're gonna be pushing back, or you'll be involved in the decision.
I'll be pushing back on it. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. All right. Also, as a sort of bookkeeping note, I plan on going pretty quickly, so I'm not going to be waiting super long for feedback. If there's anything you wanted to talk from a previous one, just interrupt me and go. I'm doing this in the interest of trying to get through this list. Okay. Swap. So the goal here is to GA swap. Putting my red hat on, this is a fairly high priority for us, though I don't know how it is for the rest of the SIG. So I initially set it to medium, but I don't know if folks would mind setting this to high. This is mostly just GA. We've talked about this already. So I think we have consensus here, right?
I agree it's high. I noticed that a lot of production actually started to using that in production. And, so that's why we need have provide official standard support on those, before the things getting worse. Yeah.
Cool. We're agreement there. Who wants to be approver?
So I can be an approver.
All right. Thank you, Dom. Perfect.
Just to be clear, this is
right.
this is code approver. Is that what we agreed at the beginning? Or
Yes,
is it
code approver. Yes.
Okay.
So the scheme is the code approver will be doing the KEP approval, but doesn't actually have approver rights. So there'll also have to be a KEP approver who goes in and actually gives the tag, but the preliminary like review and approval will be approver.
Okay.
All right. Open telemetry tracing GA. I don't actually know if there's I know David Ashpole volunteered to potentially take this on for stable. I would not consider this to be terribly high priority because it's just taking us a while to do it. But so I've kind of put it to low. I don't know if anyone wants to kind of push more earnestly with it.
I can be approval for that.
Perfect. Thank you, Sergey. And all right, cool. This non-SMT aligned.
Before we move too
workload.
far, do we want to assign Wrangler to previous one since
Yeah, I don't know if all the Wranglers are on this call, so I sent them a mail, an email basically saying after we have opted into everything, then go through and volunteer. So
okay,
I see
so
Amara's already
volunteer
volunteered for
based.
some.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, totally. And then we'll distribute them between the Wranglers to load balance a little bit, but okay. Non-SMT aligned workload. So this will be going GA. I think Francesco was gonna advise on the on this here, but I don't think that.
I just want to quickly say that I wish, but I would rather push for memory manager, and it's gonna be a packet release, so I don't want to overbook myself. So I cannot
Totally.
promise. I would like to focus on memory manager, which is getting closer.
Totally. Okay, cool. So I think low is then the correct priority here.
I agree.
I can be the approver
Cool.
for the code if we get around to it.
Sorry, I was away from was that Kevin?
Yep.
Yep.
Cool. Thank you. All right. support to size, memory back volumes. This one, we're just moving it to GA, I think. Kevin Hannon was going to take this on. So I don't think that this is another, like, we're just GAing it. So, you know, and it's been in beta for a while, so it would be good to do, but not terribly high priority. That I think should be relatively straightforward as well. Any approver volunteer?
You can add me.
You? All right. Topology manager. So now we're getting to the point where we haven't actually triaged the priority. So so this one, it went to beta in 131, but because it's a small sort of like additional policy option inside of the topology manager, both the author and Francesco are advocating for GA, a pretty quick GA. I assume that there are no sort of outstanding issues with it. So how do
Yeah,
folks
I
think
know this one.
on prior?
I know the impact. I know this one's pretty straightforward. I would also be supportive of it just going immediately to GA. And you can add me as
Cool.
an approver. Yeah.
Awesome, thank you. I don't think we're pushing terribly quickly, like have a super high priority. Do you think between low and medium somewhere?
Low is fine. Yeah.
Cool.
It's on by
Thank you.
default anyway. So
All right. Sleep action for pre-stop hook. This, I believe, is going to be a relatively straightforward one.
Yeah, there are
We have
kind
an
of
API
smarter.
review already.
Yeah, there is like this cap by itself, but also there is this new cap to allow 0 values for
Yeah,
sleep. So
and
it's
that
not
one
in the
is
list yet.
down here somewhere.
Is it?
Totally.
Okay.
Yeah, it's somewhere on this list. I definitely triaged it. We'll get to it, I think. But yeah, this is just to GA the existing pre-stop
Yeah, I can get on both.
hook.
It should be very
Cool,
straightforward.
thank you. Priority here.
It's low. There is. I mean, it's already in beta enabled by default. So you just
Right.
have to make sure that all the conformance is there and stuff like that.
Totally. Thank you. Multi-NUMA alignment with Symbology Manager. This is another. Oh, Kevin was going to work on this. Move this stable.
this is also one for
I'll
me.
Pardon?
I just said this is also one for me to approve.
okay, cool. Are you
The
the
author-
author as well? Or are you like?
No, I
No,
just
I'm
did
the
the
author.
issue. The author is Piotr. Yeah.
Cool. Thank you. Piotr, if you would fill in your GitHub handle into this field at some point, that would be great. Thank you.
Yeah, let me just find the link.
Priority.
I'll do it.
Thank you. I also read priority kind of low, medium.
Yeah, I think it's on track with the other CPU and topology manager style ones as well.
Totally.
Yeah.
All right. Sounds good. Memory manager GA Francesco wanted this to be a slightly higher priority, I think. Do you have any thoughts on this, Francesco?
Okay, no more than medium, my take, because the only thing which we need to do is to merge the fixes. Could be low. I mean, low or medium. It's fine. I'm fine with both. No more than medium. And the problem here is to getting some fixes in. So we need, if we manage to do that, we can GA.
Has it
Okay.
changed much since the initial implementation, or is it still pretty much
I
copied
think
the CPU manager and then made it work for memory?
no, it didn't change much. Actually, some bugs. The bug I'm thinking about is about actually enforcing the original design, which somehow got diluted. I don't remember why, but so it's no major evolution. It's going to be pretty stable. So the GI criteria is to fix the open issues.
Okay. And would you be taking that work on to do the PRs for those fixes? Is that you or is it someone else? I guess is what I'm asking. Francesco.
I think based on this comment, it was going to be to Laura to look at it.
Yeah, yeah. Indeed.
Okay. And then you would do the initial path for reviewing and things like that.
Yeah, I did the review for the PRs and the bits.
Okay, I can take on approving it. Then. That's fine.
Cool.
Because I know the code base.
Then, why am I getting blocked there? Okay, whatever. Great, thank you. All right. Resource health checks for pod status. So at beginning where we moved on to beta keps. This one I understand to be fairly high priority.
It stays in alpha.
Sergey, do you have anything to say on this?
Yeah, it says in alpha.
Who's
We
saying alpha?
want to support the array for that. I mean it's alpha 2 of sort. I'm an author, so I don't know whether I can be approver. Maybe somebody will help and I approve. But if not, then we need to have an approver. I guess
I can approve it. Yeah. Form or not if you want.
Yeah, I can go for it.
Thank you.
I'd like to be on that as well. You can put me as a reviewer or approver or whatever. Has some interactions with in-place pod resize.
Cool. For some reason, it's not letting me edit the reviewer column, and I don't know why. But so that's something to figure out. But I will put a note here. I added a notes field. I didn't. Sorry. So we're gonna do. Where were we? Lost it, obviously. Okay, I'll get to that, and I'll add you as a reviewer. Thank you, Tim.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, and DRI structured parameters.
Kevin, are you going to be the author? I can approve the node bits if you want.
I mean, it's obviously this touches every part of the code, but for the thing specific to SIG Node, Ed Bartosh will probably be the author of the code.
Yeah, then we can put Kevin as the
Yeah, I
approver.
can be a reviewer.
And
I will be a reviewer.
But,
That
yeah.
too, but yeah, it's a job. Yeah.
Cool.
Kevin is the approver, right? I believe.
Yep.
Cool. All right. You. In-place VPA. I put this at medium, but is this high actually?
At least I think the team and several other folks treat that as high, but we also understand this. It is really time consuming, and I'm not. So I think a medium is okay because people will do their best. You can put I can be the approver this time and commit my time on this one also, but this is really time consuming.
Yeah, it's a tricky one. And Tim, I'm putting you as the author here. That's correct.
Sure. I mean, there's a bunch of authors, but I'm the author on the cap update for beta.
Cool.
You are the current author.
Great. We got Evented Plague. This, I think, needs a champion. I'm not sure actually. Apaka was talked about it. I don't know if anyone from Red Hat is currently assigned to it. We were driving it in the past, and we've since deprioritized it.
Yeah, I see this person. I just gave the link in the chat. That person is actually working. I see updates from them every day, trying to fix test cases in this. Yeah, this person.
So maybe we should see if they want to sort of try to push this forward from a version perspective. I think I don't know if there's actually intent on pushing it to beta. But I would categorize it as low.
This one have I haven't put my time to look into that yet, but I received several issue report from the different people, so that's why. But I haven't seen any answer to those issues yet. So that I personally didn't take time. I just have to honestly admit. So that's why I don't know. So instead just simply push it to the beta. I want to understand what kind of problem people run into. Because if people keep report this to me, the reason it is they feel their issues being ignored. So that's why I think about we need alert on this one. I don't want we just move forward without listen to feedbacks here.
Yeah, there was like
Yeah.
2 or 3 releases ago, it caused a beta problem and it was downgraded to alpha. And then Paco has had a fix for about 2 releases, but he hasn't been able to get anyone to review the changes. I think it's involved in like the pod worker code, and I think we've been waiting for a review from Clayton to kind of get this out of alpha. That's sort of where the evented plague, from what my understanding is.
Yeah, and I added evented plague as a topic of agenda discussion to understand if anybody moving it forward. My understanding of that is there is a bigger refactoring is needed, and we don't have solid plans how to make sure that there is a consistency in how evented plague works versus generic plague. So without all those plans and dedication, do we need to keep this code in place and like fix random bugs that may affect main like generic plague reliability, or we just remove it for now and wait for next attempt?
So
I think
right
most
now
is
it's
bandwidth, right?
sorry, Don, go ahead.
Oh, I just want to say that most depend on our bandwidth for the community, right? So do we have the dedicated owner want to really dig into the details, and also not just like author, we also need a dedicated reviewer. And so looks like we have a lot of the things here. I'm not sure because this is optimization, and maybe we can punt to next release so we can focus on this one. I think we have the limited bandwidth to make a quality delivers. Yeah.
I think like we shouldn't remove it. We can keep it alpha and keep trying to make progress on it. Like make sure that the code is behind the feature flag. It doesn't interfere with generic flag, but let's keep it. And when we have bandwidth, we can make a bigger push towards beta. Tim?
Yeah, that sounds good to me. I just wanted to say, kind of throw my hat in the ring. I'm interested in this feature. I don't think I will have a lot of bandwidth for it this release cycle, but I'm happy to kind of start ramping up on it in a best effort capacity.
Yep, thanks.
So
I think
Tim,
that,
Tim, can we put you as the reviewer, even because we mark that is no priority? Is that okay?
Yeah. Yeah, or approver, whichever.
Put you here because I can't edit a reviewer right now.
I added new
cool.
The cap reviewers, so you can put it there because reviewers is basically field that reading from issue itself.
Okay.
Yeah.
You edited.
I
need a new link.
Last field, last column. Yeah. But for evented plague, I think one of the problem right now is that many bug fixes that propose, they're not very limited to like feature gates or not protected by feature gate, and there is kind of this dissatisfaction happening. People want to fix issues, saying like we need to address this code, but like it's not protected by a feature gate, and it's really hard to ensure that it's stable enough and we can merge the fix. Do we need to have a dedicated effort to clean it up and like make sure that it's all under feature gate? That's where my question comes. Like we will say that we will work on that feature, but every bug fix we have is like may affect main code performance and our reliability. And,
I agree with you, Sergey. The evented plague, anything that goes should be behind the feature gate, because any small mistake there will just be catastrophic for generic plague. So yeah, we need more scrutiny of the PR that any bug fix should be should not affect generic plugin anyway.
Exactly. Okay.
Yeah,
So
I agree with that.
we just need to set expectation very clear. If anybody wants to fix a bug, they may need to refactor some code to hide everything under feature gate.
Mm.
Totally. So we leave it as is, maybe an alpha for now, unless like a champion comes to drive it a little bit further. Cool. Thank you, Sergey, for the updated table. All right. Parallel image pulse.
This one needs tests. We don't have a good test framework for that because it basically relies, right now, test relies on how fast images will be pulled. And instead of that, we probably need to have some image pull proxy or whatever. And nobody committed to write those tests to make them non-flaky. If we have anybody sign up for that, then we can move it forward. If not, it's low priority and we can keep it as beta for now.
Yeah. I don't even think, I don't even think has it made beta yet?
It isn't beta. I
Oh,
believe.
it is. Okay, cool. All right, so I have it here. Cool. Oh, did that wrong. Wait. Fix that. Okay. Oh, here it is. That just changed. Okay, sorry. Okay. Cool. So it doesn't look like we're going to, it almost seems as though we should maybe even move this to triage, because I don't know if there's anyone who's sort of championing it.
Right, makes sense.
And we can, if someone wants to come forward and push it and add tests, then they can, and we can sort of re-triage it. But I kind of, at this point, I kind of doubt that's going to happen. And actually, probably similar thing is going to happen with evented flag. Okay. Printable ASCII characters and environment variables. I think the author wants to push forward beta as well as Tim Hawkins. So it looks like we're moving forward there. I don't think it's a particularly high priority for SIG Node, but we could, I mean, it seems relatively straightforward.
You can add me. I think I have reviewed that in the past.
Right. How did I hop down here? All right, cool. Thank you. I'm going to set this as low, but it should be straightforward, I think. Let's go for graceful node shutdown. So this had languished for a little bit, and then there was some, we were maybe going to go for declarative node maintenance, and that's sort of stalling. And then semi-recently, Clayton sort of put forward a document about potentially looking at graceful node shutdown. Does anyone know if we want to push forward on this here? I think this would be.
I think all those things need to be fixed, and then we also said that we need to include the daemon set race issue for GA. So yeah, so all those things need to be fixed, plus the daemon set issue for GA. So maybe it'll stay beta. I'm not sure whether we'll be able to address everything, but it'll be good to make progress on those issues.
Yeah, and if you'll fix those issues, a quite significant change in behavior, and I would prefer to keep it in beta for at least one release after that.
Yeah, makes sense.
Okay. Cool. So we'll leave it in beta regardless, because we can't GA it without these fixes, but we need to have it in beta, at least release with these fixes. So let's try to get the fixes in potentially. I don't know. I can potentially see if Christoph wants to take a look at it for that work, but we have a approver potentially.
I think maybe Yuju, you were also on that doc. I'm not sure if you wanna be involved in this one.
Yeah, I can take a look.
Okay.
But do
Would
we
you like
have
to be the approver then?
we don't have an author yet, right?
Yeah, we don't exactly. So I was thinking like who wants to do the work? Maybe we ask KW, Peter, if he
Yeah.
is interested.
I can ask him after the call, and I think he is
Okay.
interested. I think we just need to figure out priority, but
Okay. We'll ask a redactor if he has the time to work on it.
Okay.
Yeah, and ideally we need somebody with more experience with longer graceful termination. Many spot-based, like spot VM-based experiences are having like 30 seconds of graceful termination, and like what to do with endpoints is not very interesting here.
totally. Okay, cool. Next up, we have drop-in qubit. So this is currently in beta, and the proposal is to keep it in beta, but turn it on by default. There was recently a PR just today that Jordan submitted to sort of fix up one of the issues with it. So that's good. So this should be a relatively straightforward piece because we're just going to be flipping it on and changing some tests, but it'll stay same stage. I know Sohan was going to work as the author. So I know I could be a reviewer for sure for it.
Yeah, I can take that on. I think Sergey, you also had opinions on this one. I'm not sure if you want to take it.
Yeah, I reviewed a lot, so if you want, I can just take it.
Cool. All right. We have Kubernetes user NS. I don't know if Akihiro is planning on working on this now. He said he might in 131, but we haven't heard from him. So I'm actually I might even move this to triage. I don't know if we're gonna make this, and I'm gonna guess and end up not being released. CRI stats. So the state of this one, we have someone on our team who's willing to work on pushing to beta. There's I can't remember or we have volunteer down here. So this person is he was volunteered to do the container D piece. So theoretically we could maybe push to beta, or we can like wait to see where the container D piece goes and then see. I know for Cryo World there are gains to be had with this, so we definitely want it, and there has been maybe conversation about potentially like setting it to beta, but like maybe off, but then, you know, for cryo, we could set it to on or something like that. I don't know if we necessarily need to have container D support. But what do folks think?
I think we should wait to see where the container D support goes before pushing for beta.
All right, so we're potentially not working on this. So I guess we'll see.
And even if it will be container D 2.0 only, and then it will be delayed a little bit. Yeah, I think
Yeah, probably.
I remember we've been discussing that we need to have excessive documentation as a graduation criteria. So maybe if somebody is signing up to work on that, it will be great. We wanted to have all the metrics listed and like mapping between those metrics and how to transition from old metrics to new metrics, this kind of stuff. Because I mean, it looks like a duplication of sorts, so it needs to be taken care of carefully.
Yeah, totally. Okay, sounds good. All right, new static policy, I think it's the CPU manager. The author seems pretty responsive. So Who wants to take a look at this potentially?
Is the
Hello.
plan to just move from alpha to beta? Is that what this is?
Yes, I believe so. Yeah.
Francisco, this is the one that you reviewed and I eventually got around to looking at and approving. Is that right? For
Yep.
alpha?
Yeah, I was just about to say that I can review and get in touch also with the author to make sure they want to push to beta to double check.
So Kevin, would you like to be the approver again?
Yeah. We'll just put it as low again, like the
Yeah, sounds good. All right, perfect. Supplemental groups. So this one, the author's pretty responsive. We just have, think we're waiting on container D2 v2 for this. So following CRI stats. But I think the code is merged into container D. It's just not, v2 isn't out yet. Do we want to wait on beta for that?
Not seeing a huge urgency on this one, and we already have a lot, so let's respond to 133.
Yeah.
Peter, why don't you just move it to not for release?
Yeah. Oops. All right. Now we are in alphas, starting with the high priority pieces. So OCI artifact. So this is already in alpha. This made alpha. I've talked with Sasha, and he kind of feels like there's enough work, specifically the subpath handling, that he wants to sort of keep it in alpha for a release and iterate on this before pushing to beta. So there will be a little bit of an extension to it, but by and large, it'll stay the same from the API perspective.
Yeah, I think another thread here is we need to work with our group serving on what the conventions are for storing models as artifacts, and see if we get some agreement across container runtimes like Containerd, Cryo, Podman, whoever else is interested.
Cool. I'm happy to help review here.
You can
if someone
put
wants
me as the approver. Yeah.
Yeah, me as a reviewer as well. Thanks.
Thanks, Mike. Yep.
Okay. We did this one. DRA. So here we have our whole list of DRA extra keps. Are there authors assigned for these pieces?
So we just talked.
Yeah, go ahead, John.
Go ahead, John.
I was just saying, we just talked about this an hour ago and gave, we didn't have a nice table like this, but we listed the people that would be approvers versus reviewers. So we can just populate that information in here, I guess.
I think
Great.
authors, right? You were going to do the partitionable. I was going to do the priority one of Antonio.
I will be authoring the first one. Yeah. And Renal, I think you can be the approver on that.
Yeah, I can be the approver for partitionable. Yeah.
And then one of prioritized lists, I was going to author that. The claim
I can
status.
help with approving that one as well. I think the one off.
And then the next one, Antonio and I think there's a lot of people all the networking people are interested in that one. So, yeah, I don't know who we want to be the approver there. Or we're not. Glutton punishment is going to sign up for all of them.
I'm happy to
But no,
help out.
if you want,
but yeah,
if you want, you can offload some other work
Yeah.
to me, Yuji, and the team, so you can
Okay.
focus on DI. Yeah.
Yeah, we can do that. Yeah.
Yeah. So we basically default you and Kevin. Kevin, all the other resource management, and also.
So this one we didn't talk about extending pod
Which one is it?
resources.
Oh, that's because it's an older one. It wasn't new for this release. We added it a couple of releases ago.
Totally. Do we plan on making? Oh, okay. So it would be potentially beta.
Potentially, but I would make it low priority. I think it's, well, actually, no, if DRA itself goes to beta, this should go to beta alongside. So, it should be whatever priority the
Structure parameters is.
Yeah, the structure parameters one, which I think we made high.
That's probably high, yeah. So it's going to go along with that to beta, you're saying? That's the idea.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Cool. And so maybe do we say Kevin here as well, because you're also
As an approver, yeah. Yeah. I'm not sure who would. There was someone else from NVIDIA that did the initial implementation of this, but I think Ed, you're the one that updated it for the newest changes to 131, right?
No, I don't remember doing this.
Okay, maybe
Oh.
Patrick did. Oh no, because
Yeah.
Patrick did the kubelet changes. Patrick took on all of the stuff in this most recent
Patrick.
release. So I think Patrick actually did that. But Ed, if you want to, if there's anything that needs to change, would you be willing to do the implementation here?
Yeah, sure.
cool. And then quota.
I think this one's going to end up being bumped. So let's just make it low priority.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. And we could even move it to 300.
That sounds good.
Still,
We can readdress if we have bandwidth or something.
just have to drop more, I think. Figure out what's next.
Okay. So this another manager one. This one is a pretty high priority for Red Hat. So we would vote high if possible. The authors are from AMD, and I've been helping with the review as well as Francesco.
Yeah,
I would
I'd
also need to
appreciate
look at
if someone from Intel can take a look or just give a perspective on how it fits with the existing CPU manager stuff, and it's all the same.
I will look at it. It's on my to-do list.
Thanks, Sasha.
But I have a question. I mean, for such features which they might require special hardware which we don't have in the CI, how should we handle this?
Good question.
You can handle it by mocking SysFS data.
Sorry, can you repeat? I didn't understand.
You can try to mock it using the faked SysFS data. So the code which will be detecting the topologies of the hardware will be working not on the real hardware, but on some substituted values.
Okay, but this, you mean in unit tests or because in end-to-end node tests? That's what I'm referring. How can we do it? Can we do it also there, your proposal?
Yeah, I'm not
I
sure.
don't know.
So,
Can you use the Equinox clusters? And then hard set the hardware you're running?
Yeah, I mean, personally, I can do it in my lab, but what I'm considered is that sometimes changes are done and then it's not tested thoroughly in some cases. And there is a risk that enters a bug. That's what I'm worried about, especially related with CPU manager and topology.
Yeah,
combination.
That's also true for multi-num alignment. Actually, we already very recently proved that part, and to some extent also for devices. But yeah, that's a very good and valid concern, which I don't have a good answer for, unfortunately.
Yeah, we start with faking and later on for beta, see if we can get some hardware available for end-to-end tests. But for alpha, I don't think it should block.
We usually don't require end-to-end test for alpha, so yeah.
There's also potential
something to
to.
think about for beta.
It's also possible to do with special crafted, like handcrafted VMs using QEMU, but that might be also not easy to implement in 8V.
Do we want to allocate an approver for this?
Anyway, I mean, I can do it, but I don't want it to be like everyone from Red Hat is just pushing. Sasha, if you can kind of approve, and then I can just go by, okay, Sasha approved, and I'm just adding.
I think Kevin is the best person, like has a neutral position.
I just feel a bit oversubscribed. That's why I wasn't volunteering. Yeah, you can put me down for now.
Okay, thanks.
And we'll see where if we get some.
Cool, thank you. All right. Tune crash loop back off.
Well, there is a very small scope for this. Just adding the timeout. I can do approvals.
Yeah, the circuit or team or Clara also, yeah.
Okay.
Either one.
Yeah, I'm working closely with Laura on this one.
Yeah,
so
right.
I can improve it. The scope, I think she's gonna follow up with a another KEP that's updating the actual proposed scope. So kind of still a little up in the air, I guess.
And I put this at a medium. I don't know how folks think about that. Could also be low.
Medium sounds good to me.
Cool. Thank you. Pod resource limits.
EG, do you want to take this one?
Yeah, I can take this one. Reviewing anyway, so.
Perfect.
I also will review this one. Because this can change a lot of things. I also have the proposal depending on this one, so that's why I care about this one so much.
Perfect. All right, sounds good. We already did that. Sub-second, more granular probes. Mike, did you want to work on this in this release?
Yeah, I'd like to give this a shot. Tim Hawken had some ideas for making sure we add budgeting to the KEP, so I'll update that, make a couple changes to the code, rebase it, and give it a shot again.
What's the latest on API status? I guess I can just read it, Cap. Thank you.
Yeah, just take a look. Yeah, basically it's more towards the granular, where you could modify, to be a second minus 500 milliseconds, for example, as a bottom end limit, or you could just add 500 milliseconds to the timeout, right? Yeah, take a look, or we can talk afterwards if you like.
Thanks.
Someone want to approve it or be on the line to approve?
I think this is kind of related to the other one, right? The kind of related to the crash loop backup, similar areas.
Right. Yeah, I've been talking to Laura as well. Yeah. It definitely
take this one?
Works in the same place. Yeah.
Tim, do you want to take this one?
Sure.
Thanks.
Thank you. All right. Ensure secret pulled images. So actually, this has been largely taken over by folks from SIG. I think Spanda has been working on this. So I think we're going to be an advisory role. I've been pretty close to it on the node side, so I'm happy to be a node reviewer for the pieces. Yeah.
Agreed.
I can be approver if needed.
Thank you.
Yeah, we've got a really good outline that Liggett and crew have put together. That looks pretty good for getting through this time.
Totally. Yeah, at long last. Sidecar container restart.
Yeah, we plan to do it.
Okay.
I can be an approver here.
Well, thank you. Great. We have PSI. Pixie was working on. I also am interested in putting some energy into this potentially, depending on Runc 1.2.
Yeah, so you and Kevin expressed interest in discussions around this. From the implementation perspective, I do not have as much bandwidth because I'll be looking into the pod level resource limits, but I have found someone who might be interested in the implementation. I can let you know in one of the SIG Node meetings eventually, but for now we can keep it in 132 kept planning. I mean, we can have it as a for 132 milestone.
Cool.
I think the big issue is like
Runc
1.2 is still not out. And we
Right.
have a thread going on with Cure. I think, I think, Peter, if we have clarity with Cure, and then we can even consider it.
Yeah, I figure we can do the sort of the Kubernetes paperwork to act as though we're getting it in, and then, you know, mostly rely on, you know, Runc, and then if Runc cuts, then we're ready, and if not, then we bump.
Yeah, I still see a couple of tasks pending for Runc 1, whatever that version is. So do you guys know by any chance what the timeline looks like for that version of Runc release?
No, we are still chasing it. Maybe we'll know in a day or two.
Okay, sounds good.
Done.
You maybe, sorry, I changed topic. The previous one, restart the sidecar container during the pod termination. Shouldn't this is if we this is for me this is even is not like a new feature. For me, this is shouldn't this is kind of potential of the bug for the production.
It's a completely new behavior for sidecars. We never had precedence with something being restarted during termination. So I would think, I mean, at least we will need to have a feature gate to gate this behavior. At maximum, we need to have some PR protest.
Okay. So this is if I remember correctly, recently there are some production issues related to this sidecar restarting behavior. Is at least I've personally reviewed that as the bug. I'm not sure this one it is a proposal to address that production issue for people.
Those were that when we cherry picked the fix. Those were bugs with either kubelet restart or node restart. So those were fixed. This one is about restarting during graceful termination. So while main container is still gracefully terminating, we want to keep restarting the sidecar if needed.
Okay, thanks. Okay.
Cool, thank you. We're pretty much at time. I think we can call it because we still have, we made pretty good progress though, a little bit more than half. So that's great. And we'll pick this up next week and finish off. And I'll then try to tie up the paperwork here to get this.
So everything that
thank you, everyone.
Approvers, we will mark for release, right? And move to the next.
Yes, I was gonna go through and just milestone everything that we have talked about today.
Thanks.
Cool. All right. Thanks, everyone. Talk to you next week. Bye-bye.